Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining today. We wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhava, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, the Singh Bhagavan Jagannath, Baladesava, Go Nitai, Tulsimani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So, carrying on with Canto number 9, chapter 13, the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. Just want to make double sure. Yeah, that's right. So this chapter describes the dynasty in which Janak was born. This is the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, who is the son of Ikshwaku. When Maharaj Nimi began performing great sacrifices, he wanted to appoint Vashishta to be the chief priest. But Vashishta refused, for he had already agreed to be a priest in performing a yajna for Lord Indra. Vashisht therefore requested Maharaj Nimi to wait until Indra's sacrifice was finished. But Maharaj Nimi did not want to wait. Considering that life is flickering, he thought, life is very short, so there is no need to wait. He therefore appointed another priest to perform the yajna. Upon returning from the completion of Indra's yajna, Vashishta was very angry at King Nimi and unnecessarily cursed him, saying, "May your body fall down." Cursed in that way, Maharaj Nimi also became very angry because, for the sake of more lucrative remuneration from the King of Heaven, Vashishta neglected Nimi, whom he had now cursed unnecessarily. So Nimi retaliated by saying, "May your body also fall down." As a result of this cursing and counter-cursing, both of them gave up their bodies. After this incident, Vashishta took birth again, begot by Mitra and Varuna, who were agitated by Urvashi. So Mitra and Varuna are devatas, and Urvashi is one of the apsaras, heavenly damsels. The priests who were engaged in the sacrifice for King Nimi preserved Nimi's body in fragrant chemicals. When the sacrifice was over, the priests prayed for Nimi's life to all the demigods who had come to the arena of Yajna. But Nimi refused to take birth again in a material body because he considered the material body obnoxious and imprisonment. This is self-realization, to understand that this body is not our self, and this body is actually a place of great suffering. We may have a little bit of enjoyment, but the suffering more than outweighs the enjoyment. So the devatas agreed to meet both requests and spoke as follows: "Let Maharaj Nimi live without a material body. Let him live in a spiritual body as a personal associate of the Supreme Lord, and let him manifest and unmanifest to the common people as he wishes." Wow, amazing. That's quite an impressive boon for the demigods to be able to give. I'm quite surprised that they can give such a boon. But I suppose by the Lord's mercy, anything can happen. Although Nimi did not want a material body, it is impossible to worship the Lord without a body. So he asked for a spiritual body, and that was granted. The ability to see Krishna depends on Krishna's mercy. The same privilege of being seen or unseen according to one's own desires was given to Nimi. Thus he lived in his original spiritual body as an associate of the Lord. The great sages then churned Nimi's body, right? That's the material body. As a result of this churning, a son was born. Because he was born in an unusual way, the son was called Janak. Okay, so Maharaj Nimi is the father of Janak. And because he was born from the dead body of his father, he's known as Vaideha. Vaideha. Deha is body. Vai must be without the body, I suppose. Because he was born from the churning of his father's body, he's known as Mithila, because of the churning. So, descendants of Mithila. Wow. So I won't go through all the names, but just wanted to have a cursory look to see if anybody we recognize. So this is, okay, so this is actually Janak's descendants. Mm, interesting. Okay. When Shiradwaja, aka also known as Janakraj, was ploughing a field. From the front of his plough, Shira, appeared a daughter named Sita Devi, who later became the wife of Lord Ramachandra. Thus, he was also known as Shiradwaja. Sukadeva Goswami concludes by telling King Parikshit that all the kings of the dynasty of Mithila were completely in knowledge of their spiritual identity. Therefore, even though staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of material existence. Chapter 14. So this is the Sun dynasty, the Moon dynasty. Let me just have a look. The name of this chapter is King Pururava, enchanted by Urvashi. So it's chapter 14. So this is a little idea of the Moon dynasty, Sun dynasty. For Garbhodaksha Vishnu, we've got Brahma, Marichi, Kashyap, Vivaswan, Shadadev, Ikshwaku. We've gone through a lot of this. We have Dashrath. Dashrath and Ramachandra. And from Nimi, we had Janak, many kings. And then the Moon dynasty, again, same, Brahma, but then this Atri, this is from the line of Atri and Soma, the moon. And this is what we presumably will be looking at as well. This chapter describes Soma dynasty and how he kidnapped the wife of Brihaspati and begot a son in her womb, a son named Buddha. Let's just have a quick look. There you go. Soma, there you go, Buddha, Pururava. So this chapter is named after Pururava, being enchanted by Urvashi. Lord Brahma was born from the lotus that sprouted from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Brahma had a son named Atri, and Atri's son was Soma, the king of all drugs and stars, also known as the moon god. Soma became the conqueror of the entire universe and performed a great sacrifice known as the Rajasuya Yajna. However, being inflicted by pride, he kidnapped Tara, who was the wife of Brihaspati. It's quite unusual behavior for a devata to do this, the spiritual master of the demigods. Despite being requested by Brihaspati to return his wife, Soma didn't, and thus a great fight ensued between the demigods and the Asuras. Because of the enmity between Brihaspati and Sukra, the Sukracharya, took the side of Soma god, moon god, and was joined by the demons. But Lord Shiva, because of affection for Brihaspati, joined the side of the demigods and was accompanied by all the goats and hoblings. Then Brahma came to know and rescued Brihaspati's wife from the clutches of Soma and returned her to her husband, thus stopping the fight. Brihaspati realized that Tara was pregnant and, being upset, made her immediately give birth to the child, who was very beautiful with a golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god Soma desired this beautiful child. So the enmity between Brihaspati and Soma grew. So who is this child? His name is Buddha. Not the same Buddha that came in Kali Yuga. Tara, feeling ashamed, wouldn't reveal whose child it was, making even the child cry. Brahma then spoke pacifyingly to Tara, who revealed that the child was Soma's. Then the moon god immediately took charge of the child. When Brahma saw that the child was deeply intelligent, he gave the child the name Buddha. Buddha means intelligent. Budh. Budh begot in the womb of Ila a son named Aila or Pururava. When Pururava's beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth, and power were described by Narad in the court of Lord Indra, The celestial woman Urvashi was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrow of Cupid, she thus approached him. Urvashi was captivated by Pururava's beauty, and therefore she lived with him for some time on three conditions: that he gave protection to the two lambs who had fallen down to earth with her. So she had fallen from heaven because she became attracted to Pururava. Only preparations made in ghee will be her eatables, and she should not see him naked at any time except at the time of sexual intercourse. Not seeing the beautiful Urvashi in his assembly, Lord Indra requested the Gandharvas to bring her back to his heavenly planet. So they came from heaven to earth, and at midnight they stole from the palace of Pururava the two lambs entrusted to the king. Urvashi became disturbed and rebuked her husband for failing to protect her lambs, whom she treated just like her sons. Pururava, naked, took a sword in hand and went into the night to follow the Gandharvas who stolen the lambs. After giving up the two lambs, the Gandharvas shone brightly like lightning, thus illuminating Pururava. Urvashi then saw her husband returning with the lambs in hand, but he was naked, and therefore she left. When Urvashi left his company, Pururava became almost like a madman. While traveling all over the world, he met Urvashi again at Kurukshetra on the banks of the Saraswati. He begs her to stay with him or he will give up his life. And then Urvashi advises him, "My dear king, you're a man, a hero. Don't be impatient and give up your life. Be sober. Don't allow the senses to overcome you. You should not be controlled by your senses. There is no use making friendship with women. Women as a class are merciless and cunning. They cannot tolerate even a slight offense. For their own pleasure, they can do anything irreligious. And therefore, they do not fear even killing a faithful husband or brother. Women are very easily seduced by men. Therefore, polluted women give up the friendship of a man who is their well-wisher and establish false friendship amongst fools. Indeed, they seek newer and newer friends, one after another. So this is not, of course, applying to pious ladies or devotee ladies, but this is more in general females. Very interesting advice. Unless elevated to spiritual consciousness, everyone is conditioned and fallen. On the spiritual platform, however, when one is elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness, whether one is a woman, a man, Shudra, or whatever, everyone is equal. So this is quite an interesting point, of course. When we talk about men and women, or young or old, or black or white, we have to understand that we are none of those things. We are spirit soul. The spirit soul is spiritual in nature, and it's connected with the supreme spirit soul. And the supreme spirit soul does not discriminate that this soul is in a black body or a white body or a woman's body or a man's body. Of course, duties are different. When we are born when we have the possession of a certain type of body, we may have different types of duties to perform. That's different. But ultimately, we're all spiritual souls equal. Pururava was not pacified by the words of Urvashi, so she made a concession that he will be able to enjoy with her as her husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children, one after another. 1 year later, Pururava again saw Urvashi at Kurukshetra and was glad to be with her for one night. But when he thought of her leaving him again, he was overwhelmed by grief. This is the condition of somebody who is very attached to possessions in this material world. And nobody is exempt, and everybody has some attachment. The idea is to get close to the Supreme Lord, become attached to the Supreme Lord, and then naturally our material attachments will fall away. The Lord will make that happen. The more we can reciprocate with the Lord, the less rather, material attachments we will have. Being satisfied with Pururava, the Gandharvas gave him a woman known as Agnistali, who looked exactly like Urvashi. Pururava mistook Agnistali for Urvashi. But when he was wandering in the forest, his misunderstanding was cleared. He immediately gave up her company. After returning home and meditating upon Urvashi all night, he wanted to perform a Vedic ritualistic ceremony to satisfy his desire. Thereafter, he went to the same place where he had left Agnistali, and there he saw that from the womb of a Sami tree had come a Ashwatha tree. Pururava made two sticks from this tree and thus produced a fire. By such fire, one can satisfy all lusty desires. The fire was considered to be the son of Pururava. By the means of that fire, Pururava, who desired to go to the planet where Urvashi resided, performed a sacrifice by which he satisfied Lord Hari. So he's a very powerful personality because he was able to satisfy Lord Hari. Right. So, in Satya Yuga, there was only one social division called Hamsa. There were no divisions of Varna like Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Interesting. Effectively, everybody's a Brahmin. The demigods were not worshipped, for only the Supreme Lord was the worshipable deity. There was only one Veda, not four. Later, before the beginning of Kali Yuga, this one Veda, the Atharva Veda, or some say the Yajur Veda, was divided into four: Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, for the facility of human society. The only mantra was Omkar, Om Tat Sat. But in Kali Yuga, almost everyone is a Shudra. So it's a reverse. Satya Yuga, everybody's a Brahmin. Kali Yuga, everybody's a Shudra. Unfit for pronouncing the Pranav Omkar. Therefore, the Shastras have recommended the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Omkar is a mantra or Mahamantra, and Hare Krishna is also a Mahamantra. Interesting. Very interesting. So in previous ages, Omkar, Om, chanting of Om, was regarded to be very powerful. But in Kali Yuga, that power is more entrusted into the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna mantra. At the beginning of Treta Yuga, King Pururava inaugurated a Karma Kanda sacrifice. Thus, Pururava was able to go to Gandharva Lok as he desired. So he managed to go there. The path of karma was introduced at the beginning of each Treta Yuga by different kings such as Priyavrat in the cycle of the four yugas. Chapter 15. Pashuram, the warrior, the Lord's warrior incarnation. This chapter describes the history of Pashuram. From the womb of Urvashi came 6 sons named Ayu, Shrutayu, Satyayu, Rayu, Jay, and Vijay. There they are. And then their sons are here. The son of Vijay was Bhim. Yeah. In his dynasty was Janu, who was celebrated for having drunk all the water of the Ganga in one sip. So we celebrate that pastime, Janu Saptami. From Kashambu came Gadi. Shambhu came Gadi. That must be somebody else. Okay. This is the lineage of Bhim. So Bhim and then his children. They got Janu. and then Kusha, and then here's Gadi. Okay, so in that line, Gadi's daughter named Satyavati marriage to Ruchika. A Brahmin named Ruchika wanted to marry Satyavati, but the king did not regard him as a suitable husband for his daughter. And therefore he told the Brahmin. And the reason the king didn't, because he was a poor Brahmin sage. Or apparently he looked like a poor Brahmin sage. And the king wanted his daughter to marry a wealthy Kshatriya or an empowered Kshatriya. My dear sir, I belong to this dynasty of Kusha. Because we are aristocratic Kshatriyas, you have to give some dowry for my daughter. Therefore, bring at least 1,000 horses, each as brilliant as moonshine, and each having one black ear, whether left or right. So this is quite a challenge. So the king was thinking, I'll give him such a challenge that he will not be able to meet the challenge, and he cannot have my daughter's hand in marriage. The great sage Ruchika could understand the king's mind. Therefore, he went to the demigod Varun and brought from him the 1,000 horses that Gadi had demanded. After delivering these horses, the sage married the king's beautiful daughter. So Gadi, Satyavati gave birth to Jamdagni, who gave birth to Pashuram. And Gadi's other, son is Vishwamitra, the very famous, powerful Vishwamitra. Thereafter, Ruchika's wife and mother-in-law, each desiring a son, requested the Muni to prepare an oblation. So, Ruchika Muni was very powerful. He had a wife and mother-in-law, the wife of King Gati. So, Ruchika Muni prepared an oblation for his wife with a Brahman mantra and another for his mother-in-law with a Kshatriya mantra. So his wife would give birth to a Brahman, his mother-in-law would give birth to a Kshatriya, warrior. Then he went out to bathe. Meanwhile, because Satyavati's mother thought that the oblation prepared for her daughter, Ruchika's wife, must be better, she asked her daughter for that oblation. Satyavati therefore gave her own oblation to her mother and ate her mother's oblation herself. When the great sage Ruchika returned home after bathing and understood what had happened in his absence, he said to his wife, Satyavati, you have done a great wrong. Your son will be a fierce Kshatriya, able to punish everyone, and your brother will be a learned scholar in spiritual science, Vishwamitra. Satyavati, however, pacified Ruchika Muni with peaceful words and requested that her son not to be a fierce Kshatriya. That fierce Kshatriya is Parshurama. Ruchika replied, then your grandson, that fierce Kshatriya would have been Jandagni. But Ruchika replied, then your grandson will be a Kshatriya spirit. So the grandson is Parshuram, who was the great warrior. Thus, Jamdagni was born as a son of Satyavati. It's a little complicated, but it's very interesting. So just to be clear, Satyavati gave birth to Jamdagni, who was a peaceful Brahmin, even though she had eaten the Kshatriya prasad. Yeah? And Gadi's wife gave birth to Vishwamitra, great sage. And then, as a result of Ruchika's blessing, the son of Jamdagni, Pashuram, was a great Kshatriya. Jamdagni married Renuka, the daughter of Renu, By the semen of Jamdagni, many sons headed by Vasuman were born from the womb of Renuka. The youngest of them was Rama or Parshurama. Learned scholars accept this Parshuram as a celebrated incarnation of Vasudev, who annihilated the dynasty of Kartavirya. Parshuram killed all the Kshatriyas on earth 21 times. Sure. So, this gave rise to a question. Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Sukadev Goswami, what is the offense for which the Lord annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty again and again? Sukadev Goswami explained, Kartavirya Arjun, the king of the Hayas, received 1,000 arms by worshipping Lord Dattatreya. It was very powerful. He became undefeatable by his enemies and received unobstructed sensory power, beauty, influence, strength, fame, and mystic power. And he roamed all over the universe without opposition. Once, while enjoying in the river, in the water of the river Narmada, the puffed up Kartavirya Arjun, surrounded by beautiful women, garlanded by garland of victories, stopped the flow of the water with his arms. He has 1,000 arms. Because Kartavirya Arjun made the water flow in the opposite direction, the camp of Ravan, which was set up on the bank of the Narmada near the city of Mahismati, was inundated. This was unbearable to the 10-headed Karavan, who considered himself a great hero and could not tolerate Kartavirya Arjun's power. When Ravan attempted to insult Kartavirya Arjun in the presence of the women and thus offended him, Kartavirya easily arrested Ravan and put him in the custody of the city of Mahismati, just as one captures a monkey. Once while Kartavirya Arjun was wandering the forest hunting, he visited Jamdagni, the father of Parshuram. The sage hosted the king and his soldiers, ministers, carriers with his Kamandenu cow, who supplied all the necessities to worship those guests. Kartavirya Arjun thought that Jamdagni was more powerful and wealthy than himself because of possessing a jewel in the form of Kamadenu. The envious Kartavirya Arjun thus encouraged his men to steal Jamdagni's Kamadenu. So this Kamadenu is a wish-fulfilling cow. So very powerful. Thus the men forcibly took away the crying Kamadenu, who, along with his calf, to Mahismati, Kartavirya Arjun's capital. When Parshuram returned to the ashram, because he was away at that time, he heard about Kartavirya Arjun's nefarious deed. He chased him with his chopper, shield, bow, and a quiver of arrows. Upon seeing Parshuram, Kartavirya Arjun immediately feared him and sent 17 Akshauhinis of soldiers to fight Parshuram. And one Akshauhini consists of 21,870 chariots. Wow. 109,350 soldiers, 65,610 horses. So he sent 17 of them. But Lord Parshuram alone killed all of them. Then Kartavirya Arjun, with his 1,000 arms, simultaneously fixed arrows on 500 bows to kill Parshuram. But Lord Parshuram, the best of fighters, released enough weapons with only one bow to cut to pieces immediately all the arrows and bows in the hands of Kartavirya Arjun. He also chopped off the 1,000 arms of Kartavirya Arjun and chopped his head off. Wow. Kartavirya Arjun's 10,000 sons ran away in fear. Then Parshuram released the Kamadenu, the Gomata, which had undergone great suffering, and brought it with its calf to his residence, where he gave it to his father, Jamdagni. Upon hearing the deeds of Parshuram, Jamdagni chastised Parshuram for unnecessarily killing the king, who is supposed to be the embodiment of all demigods. Brahmins become worshipable for the people in general because of their quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of the universe, has achieved his post. The duty of a Brahman is to culture the quality of forgiveness. And the Supreme Lord is pleased with those who are forgiving. Killing a king is more severely sinful than killing a Brahman. Why? Because the king, if he's strong, he keeps society in order. He keeps the rogues under control. Therefore, Jamdagni advised Parshuram to atone for his sins by traveling to various holy places, becoming Krishna conscious. The Lord endowed with Chit Sakti doesn't have to perform atonements, but he does so to teach the people. One who is fully surrendered to the Lord is free from all sins. Because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Lord, he is advised to go to the holy places to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. Very interesting point. We don't actually have to go anywhere or do anything. If we are fixed upon the Lord, we can stay at home and can chant his holy names happily in connection with the Supreme Lord. But because our minds are not so convinced, they need to go to different holy places, they need to go to different temples in order to fix the mind, get the conviction that devotional service, especially the chanting of the holy names, is good for me. Okay, any questions, any comments? We've gone through quite a lot today.
Hare Krishna,
Um,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, all this very difficult to remember the story within the stories and the
Yes,
name,
yes,
everything. Yeah, some names like famous name Parshuram, Jamba, Jabdagni, they
yes.
are familiar, but the rest is not easy at all.
Mm. It's not. It's not. And
No.
but whilst we're reading it, we'll remember it for a little while. And as soon as we, like a day passes, we'll forget.
Mm,
Kartaviri Arjun was actually a really powerful personality. He actually satisfied Lord Dattatreya with
yeah,
his worship. So he gave him this 1,000 arms, but then it made him become very proud and arrogant. So a lot of these stories have messages which are more important than the names and what actually happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Very true.
Okay.
Very true.
Nice to know that the lineage of Janak Maharaj
Yeah.
comes from Nimi. Yeah.
Nimi Maharaj. Yeah, that's right. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
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 I think what we know, if we find the story related to it, then we find it, we
Yeah.
can sort of retain that.
Yeah. And the more we hear it, the
Yeah,
better chance. Like you said, obviously we'd read many times that Nimi was great king, but I
yeah,
hadn't put it hadn't been in focus. It lodged in my mind that he's the father of Janak Raj.
yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Papa.
Thank you. Thank you. Shyam Malini, did you want to ask something?
yeah, Prabhu, you know the Parashuram. Yes, so why? I mean, why did he commit something like that? Because he's an embodiment of the
Ah,
demigod, is it? Yeah.
well, to protect Gaumata, because the king
Oh,
unnecessarily. And Parshuram actually is Shaktavesh avatar. He's a great soul empowered by Lord Vishnu. So he's one of the Das avatars. And his job was to humble the Kshatriyas who had become very proud. And Kartaviri Arjun was one of them. So
Mm.
that's what he did. He humbled him by killing him.
Kartavirya Arjun, he was the one who satisfied Dattatreya, yeah? So
Yes. But then
Mm.
later he
that's
kidnapped the cow. See, this is the thing, you're a king, you got 1,000 hands, you got so many children, 10,000 kids, and yet still you're not satisfied. You go to the ashram of Jamdagni, you see a Gaumata, and you want that Gaumata. Why? Why? You've already got everything. This is the problem with greed.
Yeah.
yeah.
Greed, greed and the senses.
And the senses.
Yeah. Senses,
Yeah.
yeah. No, never satisfied. That's what it
Never
says.
satisfied. Always
Yeah.
wanting
Now,
more and more and more.
yeah. Just one thing, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Read somewhere that there are, or heard somewhere that there are three Rams: Balram, Ramchandra,
Yeah.
and Parshuram.
Yeah. There's a yeah,
Three
yeah,
Rams in our scriptures. I think.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
correct. But there's a
Yeah.
fourth one as well. Krishna himself. He's known as Radha
Oh,
Raman.
yes.
Yeah. Radha Raman Ram, something like that. The one who gives pleasure to Radha. Yeah, that's right. There are three Rams, but we also consider Krishna as is also regarded as Ram. Mhm. Thank you. Yes, very good point. Actually, thank you for that. Prabhabin?
I don't think Prabhaben is there today.
Ah, no, she came in and she's got her
Is
hand.
she?
Yeah, she's got her hand up. Oh no, she's not. What happened? Oh, okay. Thank you. I thought she
Must
was.
be our intern.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. No, she's not. Yeah, she's got some guests today. Thank you very much. So, Srimad
Thank you.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Pashuram ki jai.